Oh, hello, Laeticia. What an unlikely pair you make, if I do say so myself.
No, not as unlikely as you think.
That is true. To our surprise, we have something in common. Oh, really? What could that be?
How do I put this, Letty? Well, we both have illustrious relatives and are tied to the domain in which they excelled.
Illustrious relatives?
Yes, well, I have always stood in my father's shadow. And the same with Marielle and her heroic grandfather. Because a parent demonstrated prowess, we are burdened with unrealistic expectations, or treated as a means of connection.
Exactly right. And another thing, you also get blamed for things that aren't your fault.
So very true. And also, there are many in the Corps who desire anything that may belong to my father. They have some superstition that his triumphs as a general will bring them luck. I have received all manner of strange requests, such as a copy of a document with his signature on it.
Ah, you mean an autograph? Yes, I've had that too.
I could never refuse. At one point, I was even forced to bring home a stack of empty cards.
Oh? And how did that turn out?
Well, my grandfather enjoyed it, especially for the lady officers. He drew pictures and wrote with colored pens. My grandmother was too embarrassed to write almost anything, so she struggled with it.
Oh, you two seem to be enjoying yourselves, so I will let you be. What might you two be up to?
Your Highness.
Oh, hi, Laeticia. I was just chatting with Albert about what would make a better pet. A kitty or a bunny?
With Albert? You happen to be fond of cute animals?
To some small extent, I admit.
Some small extent, my foot. You were super excited talking about it just now.
That was merely because, Your Highness, if you would please ensure Raymond is not privy to this.
Anyway, kitties are the best. You can keep them indoors, they'll come over to play, and they're just so cute.
I say, Bunny, together you can roam the earth. Imagine sleeping as you bury your face in so much fluffiness. Doing so is a magnificent dream.
Oh, both animals certainly have their good points.
Laeticia, which do you think makes a better pet? Of course, it has to be a kitty, right?
No, it must be a bunny, Your Highness.
As you are asking me, I would choose a bunny.
Your Highness!
It must surely be great fun to ride on its back.
I admit it's cute, but isn't it just a little bit too big? Princess Laeticia, when you visited the doctor, I never would have thought you were the same girl I saw at my father's funeral years ago.
I am truly sorry I failed to recognize you, Nina.
Oh, someone like you need not have to apologize at all.
No, it was remiss of me to forget you.
I guess I did hold hope that you'd remember me. Just a little bit.
I am so terribly sorry.
Oh, you're taking me too seriously. I was just joking. Please, lift your head up. You know, what I was actually thinking then was, since our dads knew each other and all, that perhaps I would become friends with this girl someday.
Oh, Nina.
If it's okay with you, I mean, if it's really okay.
Would you honor me with your friendship, if it is not too late?
Hey! Well, you know, I was just about to ask you that. I'm so stoked! You got it! Starting today, we are the best of pals!
Yes, pals it is. We have traveled in one another's company for quite some time now, yes?
Sure have. Back when we met in Larkus Weald, I never imagined we'd be hanging around each other this long.
It was near this very place where we first set off together, was it not? Seems ages ago now.
So, now that we know each other a little bit, mind if I ask what you thought of me when we first met?
Do you mean of first impressions? Well, perhaps... No. I believe I must ask you the same first.
Okay. How about we both answer at the same time?
Very well then.
Ready? Go! A royal pain in the butt!
A useful oaf!
A useful oaf, huh? I guess that's better than being a useless one.
Oh, I also seem to have made a less than favorable impression.
But you know what? Doesn't seem like either of our first impressions were off the mark.
I offer no argument. Yet, I have experienced a great many things through my travels with you, and for that, I am truly grateful.
Yeah, same here. I know you got my back.
Let us brave what lies ahead together, much as we have with all that behind. May I ask what you typically do in your work, Ray?
Let's see, how do I explain this? Your kingdom has jobs that involve moving stuff around, right?
Indeed. Many which involve transportation by animal, boat, or otherwise.
Well, that's what I do. Essentially, my job is to take someone's cargo from one place and deliver it to someone else who needs it. Only we don't just deal from city to city or country to country, we deliver from planet to planet.
Planet to planet? I cannot say I quite understand. Nonetheless, I am sure you are doing a wealth of good.
I wouldn't say it's all that great, but, thanks. No job is too big, no fee is too big. Anything from a single letter to a house as big as this village, we make it happen.
A house? Forgive my shock. I cannot fathom carrying such an enormous burden. Yet, true as you say, no job is too big.
Yep. So if there's anything you need me to deliver, just say the word, all right? No matter what it is, I'll get it there safe and sound.
I see. If the need arises, I know whom I shall call.
You think about when you use Duma to fly around.
In all honesty, I focus ever so much on the flying that I do not have the capacity to think of aught else.
Makes sense. I mean, even I haven't flown around like that before.
Also, I find myself oft terrified. What if I fall? I cannot rid my mind of the anxiety. Oh, on this topic, the world you come from is even higher than the sky, yes? Have you ever felt frightened in such a high place?
Huh, never thought about it like that. I guess you're not wrong. But the sensation of falling is different when you're on the surface here. I can't really say the same about flying with Duma. As they say, you get used to it.
Fascinating. I wonder if one day I shall become accustomed to sky travel.
That's all fine and dandy, but just don't get careless before then.
I see. One must consider so many aspects in regard to flight.
Ouch! My word, what has happened?
Where did you come from? You know, it's been a while since you snuck up on me. What an awesome scavenger you are, coming here before I even call you. Ta-da! Check this out.
The ring? Could it possibly be...
Correctamundo! This is the other ring handed down throughout the Vineyard family. Finally, at long last, I have found it!
Wonderful. So that is what that peculiar laughter was about. Congratulations. And where, pray tell, did you find it in the end?
This you're not gonna believe. It actually got passed along to the Vale Empire. No wonder I couldn't find it searching Osirius high and low. Normally, you'd think the ring would be hard to find after falling into the Empire's hands, right? But thanks to the big ol' snafu between Osirius and Vale recently, relations and trading between the two have been totally revamped. That's how I got my hands on it. And here I thought the big shot royals only cared about squeezing tax money out of hardworking folk. But this time, though, they've got my gratitude. I'm sure you feel the same, yeah? Naturally, I gotta extend my thanks to you, too. I'm on the verge of restoring the Vineyard family name. And it's all thanks to my personal scavenger here. You collected all the vital material I needed. As head of my family, I, Welch Vineyard, would like to reward you with my sincerest gratitude. Okay then, now that I'm in rightful possession of this ring again, I'm starting to think this house is too small for my big ambitions. I'm gonna build an enormous manor that befits this beautiful merchant magnate with genius-level smarts. Oh, nah, that won't cut it. What a lame, humdrum way of reviving our name. I'm gonna make the Vineyards the greatest family of merchants in the entire universe. Now that relations with the Empire are on the up and up, it's the perfect time for some commerce. And until we're the world's leading merchant family, I'll be making use of your services. As my scavenger... No, that's not right. To use an old term from Vineyard family history, you are my business partner. So let's get back to business, partner.
Yes, Laeticia? Perhaps there is something you need from me?
Oh, pardon me. I fear I lost myself in admiration.
Lost in admiration?
Yes. That is to say, your profile as you are standing is as beautiful as any work of art that one could imagine. Did I disturb you?
No, you did not. However, I think work of art is going much too far.
I must disagree. Elena, you are certainly beautiful, especially... You have such a lovely air about you.
A lovely air?
Yes. I could hardly explain it well, but there are many points I would love to imitate from the way you move around.
I have never been complimented before for something other than my appearance.
Is that so?
Yes. I am an android. My appearance was designed by my creators to avoid inciting feelings of discomfort. However, what you refer to as my air is not a feature included in any of my design blueprints. I can only deduce that it must have been created over time through my daily routines and behavior. This is something wholly unexpected, but I am happy to hear it. Thank you, Laeticia.
No, the gratitude is all mine. Or was that the wrong pleasantry?
Sometimes you just gotta take a step back and really appreciate everything doctors do.
Truly, they are an essential part of society, especially as one grows older.
I really didn't like going to the doctor when I was a kid. I knew it meant I'd be choking down some gross medicine later.
Indeed.
Getting shots hurt, and then I'd have to stay in bed, no playing outside.
Yet they are all necessary means to cure an affliction. It is a fact of life.
I mean, yeah, I get it now. What the doctor said was totally right. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't still have some hard feelings there.
Henceforth, you ought do your best to retain your good health, so as to avoid the need for a doctor.
Oh, definitely. Can't afford to run out of gas while we're on our journey, right? We gotta look out for each other.
Agreed. Incidentally, pray tell, what is shots?
There's these things with big needles that inject medicine directly into your body.
Oh my, a needle in one's body? Is it wise to do such a thing?
Oh yeah, totally normal. Needles can even get blood out so you can run a bunch of tests.
Get blood out?
What's wrong?
I find myself frightened by the idea of visiting a doctor in your world, Ray.
I guess that's all the more reason to keep yourself in tip-top shape.
Lady Malkia, is there any secret you may share to successfully gather a large group together?
Why do you ask? Does something ail you?
I have been plagued with worry regarding all the things to come. I wish to seek out and listen to the counsel of my elders.
I see. One day, you will need to rule a vast kingdom after all. If you wish, as your elder, I will provide you with all the answers you desire, in part to put you in my debt.
If you would be so kind.
Nilbeth is a melting pot of a wide variety of tribes. The conventional wisdom believed by one person may hold little sway with someone else.
I understand.
Do not allow yourself to be bound by the viewpoint held by you or your family alone. It is essential to consider a wide range of perspectives.
A wide range of perspectives, I see.
There will also be times, however, when you find yourself at a standstill.
Oh?
As a leader of people, you may need to exert your superiority on occasion. That is when you must disregard others' views and push through your own decisions with utmost conviction.
But then, which decision is correct?
It will depend on the situation. So, contemplate such things now, sharpen your judgment, and build experience. I am quite sure it will be of great benefit to you in the future.
Yes. While there is time, I will consider a great many things. Thank you.
Devote yourself. I am sure you will do fine.
Maester Midas, what might you be gazing at?
Yes.
Is there a rare bird in flight? Perhaps you are investigating tomorrow's weather?
Okay.
I am not so knowledgeable myself, but I believe there is a discipline that predicts the weather from cloud shapes and wind speed in the sky.
Ah.
Tomorrow, a fried egg carried by a bunny will descend from the sky and land on your pillow. Just kidding?
Yes.
I must be disturbing you. I beg your pardon.
Ah.
Perhaps still, he has no interest in speaking with me. No, I cannot remain dejected. For present and future considerations, I must strike a topic that sparks his interest.
Yes, I would like to ask your opinion.
Certainly. What can I do?
Thank you graciously. In truth, I have been unsure of which muscles on my body I ought to train.
Muscles? Your physique?
Precisely. Please decide which muscles I should prioritize to train, my upper body or my lower body. My time is limited. Since you are here beside me, do you see any muscles that you feel are lacking?
Well, I am no expert on the topic by any means, but let us see. Mayhap you should prioritize strengthening your upper body.
I see. My upper body, you say?
The upper body is what carries weaponry, after all. Hence, I believe focusing on your arm and shoulder muscles may be best.
Very true. That is important. Now that my arm has been returned to working order, I shall commence my training today.
Please do not overburden yourself.
What a strong and capable woman you have become.
Theo?
Apologies, merely airing my frank impressions. As a cousin, as a childhood friend, I am proud.
Praise too high, and it shall be nigh impossible for me to accept. What brought that on?
Well, I was struck by memories. I recall when you were but a small girl all those many years ago.
In my childhood?
No, not quite. I was referring to the Letty of yesteryear, still struggling with the onset of adulthood.
Since I was a child, you have always been present, ever capable and full of knowledge. As such, I came to rely on you, so much so that perhaps I matured bereft of self-confidence. Seeing my uselessness when relations with the Empire deteriorated, I felt despondent.
Thus you set out on the journey with Albie?
Yes, perhaps I felt I had something to prove. Even then, I felt painfully aware of my own inadequacies. But knowing it was something I chose of my own will, I forced my foot forward. And I encountered things I would never have seen if I remained in the palace.
To think the sea of stars would be one such thing. Who could have imagined that?
If, as you say, I have in fact become a strong and capable person, it is thanks to you, Albert, and Ray, and to countless others I have met on the course of my journey. Of that I am quite sure.
Being capable of spilling such words is proof enough of your growth and accomplishments.
Your praise of me is certainly incessant. What are you looking to say exactly?
Never you mind. I was merely convincing myself that I too must change, for I wish to remain one that you can look up to. The end of this conflict is approaching, most likely. Let us bear down just one last time.
Yes, indeed. Let us be off. Maester, you are lacking sleep?
I am. I had an awfully realistic dream last night. I awoke at a terrible hour and could not get back to sleep for the life of me.
A dream, you say? What did you dream of? Perhaps... You dreamt of Lady Malkia?
What?
It appears I was right.
Child, do not mock your elders. Malkia shall hear nothing of this.
A shame. I dare say she might be pleased to learn you dreamt of her. Maester Midas.
You will tell no one of this. Keep it a secret, you hear?
Hey, what's with that serious look you're wearing?
I was wondering, perhaps, there might be some topic that interests Maester Midas.
Really? Why rack your brain about that?
Before, when I spoke to Maester Midas, he provided a rather disinterested response. I wish to try again with a more appealing subject.
That's just his habit. Tends to do that to people.
He does what to people?
Yeah, he's got a real bad habit of ignoring people when he's focusing on something else. Totally understand why you were wondering what's up when he suddenly started acting like that.
Quite. I assumed he had no interest in what I had to say.
Once, when I was little, I got pretty surprised because I thought I made him mad. He kept looking so grumpy, so I tried tickling him to make him laugh, and he got really angry.
I could hardly imagine such a scene.
The point is, don't worry yourself too much with how he acts. You know, even Dr. Eason says he can't understand Uncle Midas at all sometimes.
Is that so? We have a long road ahead then, I suppose.
Sure have traveled all over the place, haven't we?
That is certainly true. I would never have imagined we would actually visit the stars.
Hey, Laeticia!
Yes? What is it?
We've been on this long adventure together, right? And I think we've gotten pretty tight by now. I'm wondering, when the others see just the two of us girls together, what kind of relationship do they think we have?
Our relationship together? Well, I would say... we are... close.
Yay! I was totally hoping that was the case.
Thank you, Nina. I never had this kind of confidant before, so I was still a little unsure of myself. But for the longest time, I was hoping we could become close friends.
Me too! I'm pumped, Laeticia! Oh, I'm so happy!
Great! So from this day... no, since many days prior, we are close friends. When all this fighting is past, let us have a nice tea party together.
Woo! Yes, I'm up for that!
Marielle, I owe you boundless thanks for saving my father's life.
No, the Federation provoked this situation in the first place, and we almost refused him, using the Pact as a shield.
But because of you, Marielle, Father will get to live to see another day. That is why I must insist on offering a token of my gratitude.
Oh, there really is no need. If the king is recovering, that's all that counts.
Nay, I cannot let it pass. As a member of the royal family, I cannot let you go unrewarded for rescuing our king.
Also, I should mention, as an officer of the Pan-Galactic Federation, I cannot accept any gifts or anything from local royalty like you, Laeticia.
Oh, I see. Although I still wish to give something as an expression of my thanks. But what sort of gift would Marielle mayhap find pleasing? Food, perhaps?
What?
What if I were to offer hospitality, not with some product, but with the best cuisine in all the kingdom? Marielle, do you like to consume your foods?
I've never really thought about whether I like it or not.
It is decided. I shall make preparations immediately.
Huh?
Highness,
Have you aught that I can assist with?
Oh, I simply caught sight of you and extended my greetings.
Is that so? Well, should the need arise, please tell me right away.
Indeed I shall. Albert,
Highness, your command.
you are invariably doing whatever I ask, are you not? So, mayhaps there is aught you would ask of me to do for you instead.
I do not believe there is anything specific.
You could request anything at all. Consider this your opportunity to say as you wish.
Well... If I may be so bold, I would like to make one request.
Yes, of course.
Could you please try to act a whit less recklessly and behave more rationally, Letty? This is my only humble wish.
I see. Then I shall keep it forever in mind.
Thank you graciously.
This was not the sort of request to which I was referring to. Estimated him and received his true wish instead.
Laeticia, what kind of food is someone like you into?
Someone like me?
Like, I love eating cheap and tasty local food from all sorts of different planets. But you're, let's say, of noble birth. So it got me curious, what kind of chow is your favorite?
I struggle to comprehend your preferred meals. Howbeit, I do not think that I have particular tastes solely due to my royalty. Well, perchance
How is this hard for you?
My apologies. I have not pondered the thought much.
Alrighty. Let's make this simpler. How about we start with your favorite drink?
Favorite drink? Well... I quite enjoy tea. Though it is difficult to choose if it is my most favored.
Oh, yeah? It sounds pretty fancy-schmancy to me.
It bestows tranquility. I oft partake of black tea at the royal palace. And not just black tea, mind you. Specialty leaves offer the most divine flavors. Their tastes and aromas differ greatly.
They do, huh? You know, I was never that big of a tea drinker, but I'm gonna have to give it another shot.
Then I shall introduce you to my favorite blends.
I'd like that. Thanks.
What kind of child was Ray?
To be honest with you, I feel as though he has not changed very much over these years.
Is that right?
He was always looking out for others and would never neglect someone in need. A caring child.
That does indeed sound the same then. I am sure he was an upstanding little boy.
Upstanding is likely debatable, but there was no shortage of noteworthy episodes. For example...
Oh, do tell, do tell!
Well, it was when Ray was playing hide-and-seek with a girl his age from the neighborhood.
Hey, what are you talking about, Elena?
I was in the middle of telling one of your childhood stories to Laeticia.
I know, 'cause I overheard it a little. Now, cut it out. My childhood stories aren't interesting, like, at all.
Please indulge me, Ray. I would love to hear your old stories.
See? Laeticia has expressed interest.
Absolutely not. It's not cool to expose the dirt from someone's past just for fun. Don't ask her things so casually. She may not seem it, but Elena's bad with boundaries.
Very well. If it troubles you so much, I shall not ask her anything at all then. Does that please you?
Hey, why am I the bad guy all of a sudden?
After Ray has had some alcohol, he will bring that story up himself. So, to be continued. Soon.
Okay. I am looking forward to it.
don't think asking you would be much help, Ray.
What? My opinion's not good enough for you?
Is aught amiss?
Oh, hey Laeticia! Perfect timing! Can I ask you something?
Certainly. I will help best as I can.
Say you were going on a trip with someone. Like a guy. Just the two of you. Where would you go?
Only the two? Chloe, pray tell, do you have such plans?
No. No plans. Nothing set in stone or anything. It's just something I'm thinking about. I thought it might be kind of nice someday.
Oh, come on, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, pipe down, Ray. So, Laeticia, where would you choose to go?
Mayhap a sailing excursion. It would be most romantic.
A cruise! That's perfect! Ah, we could stand together on the bow of a ship, basking in the sea breeze. And then we would grow closer and closer and... Ah! Oh my gosh!
Chloe, are you quite all right?
I think you're better off leaving her be. She really gets in the zone with these things.
Sincerest apologies for having you accompany me to and fro.
Oh no, I didn't mean to make you feel like that. It's exciting going places I normally don't go. No need to apologize. I'm having a great time.
I am pleased to hear that.
Speaking of, which do you like better, Laeticia? The mountains or the sea?
Pardon? Why do you ask?
That's a pretty common thing to ask. Like, say you're going on vacation. Which would you want to go to?
Understood. I had not considered the question before, but... I would say the sea.
Oh, really? The sea comes with lots of good cuisine, that's for sure.
I did not choose my answer predicated on the fare, you know.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, the sea is so huge, it's just incredible. Really an awe-inspiring sight to behold.
Indeed, it is exquisite to experience how prodigious the world truly is.
Being there makes me want to shout at the top of my lungs. Woohoo!
Oh, I do relate.
Apologies, Princess Laeticia. I truly hope Ray did not cause you too much trouble or anxiety during my absence.
Oh, no, not at all. On the contrary, he came to our aid often and most reliably.
I see. That's good to hear if that's the case.
He truly was an enormous help.
Nevertheless, should he ever provoke trouble, please don't hesitate to inform me. I will ensure that he is promptly and properly chastised.
Oh, Elena, it does appear that... You could well be Ray's elder sister.
Elder sister?
Yes, you are like a mature elder sister, concerned for her rather unmanageable younger brother.
I see. So that is how it looks from the outside. Very interesting. My relationship with Ray is probably not dissimilar to that. All the more then, be sure to tell me of his misdeeds. I will give him a real talking to as his elder sister.
Oh, as you wish. Elena, have I ever given you cause to be displeased with me?
There is nothing in particular I can think of. Tell me, why do you ask?
Actually, I happen to hear stories of how you can be quite frightening when you fall into anger.
I assume this comes from Ray, then?
That we have embroiled Ray in our affairs is a truth. I was worried that mayhaps we are causing you hardship as a result, Elena.
All choices have been up to Ray. I have no opinion on the matter either way. And to clarify, it is a misconception that I become frightening when angry.
Is that so?
Firstly, I can easily count the number of times I have actually felt angry.
I see. And what might have stoked your anger on those occasions?
On one particular occasion, I became angry when Ray disregarded his own safety and exposed himself to danger. His actions are often reckless and dangerous, so I use anger as a method to control his inclinations.
Ah, Helena, you are a kind one.
Do you think so?
Of course you are kind. You are expressing anger out of your concern for Ray.
Unfortunately, time after time, those concerns never seem to register with Ray.
No, I am sure he feels your thoughts for him.
Laeticia, there is, in fact, something I must apologize for.
Oh, what do you mean, Elena?
After we succeeded in rescuing Chloe from Baldar, I once proposed to Ray that we should depart Aster 4. I told him we should not further involve ourselves in this planet's conflicts.
You mean... no. Your thinking was reasonable. Those problems were solely ours in the first place.
I am very sorry.
No, please. It was a natural suggestion, considering where you stood at that time.
You should know, Ray promptly dismissed my advice. He said, there was no way we would conclude our contract and turn our backs on you.
Huh. I see. Is that so? In any case, we clearly took advantage of his sense of obligation. So there is no need for you to apologize. Besides all of that, you are here with us now.
Yes, and I have no intention of leaving now. Ray and I have chosen to deeply involve and commit ourselves to these matters. Also,
we are friends, right?
Yes, I hold that in my heart.
You are here fighting alongside with us now. That fills me with nothing but gratitude, Elena.
Instead of rancor, I receive gratitude. Then, thank you. Most sincerely, Laeticia. And I'm even happier we'll keep working together into the future.
Likewise, Elena.
No, Lady Malkia, I think you are one cool adult.
And what prompted such a remark? No, flattery will not move me.
I mean it! I want to become an adult just like you, who's really got her stuff together.
Stuff together? Whatever do you mean?
Well, lots of things. Like your composure, and, the way you handle Uncle Midas. You've just got so many qualities that I sure don't have.
I am not wholly certain what qualities you speak of.
Hey, don't you think so too, Laeticia?
Pardon? Oh, actually... I too know what it is like to admire Lady Malkia.
Right?
You too, Princess Laeticia. You would not happen to be mocking me, I trust.
Perish the thought! How we all rely on your assertiveness. Say nothing of the charisma you employ to unite many races.
Yeah, and your knowledge about semiomancy, and that mysterious, mature aura you've got.
Yes, well, thank you, but I fear you overestimate me. I am hardly so worthy to receive such praise from the both of you.
No, that's not true. You really are super wonderful, Lady Malkia.
Yes, you are truly someone we can both admire.
Enough, the both of you. Truly, I can take no more of these compliments.
Malgia, how you always wear such lovely attire.
Well, you must have an eye for such things. I suppose I am rather fastidious in my dress. I have my own preferences, and I must not impair the grace and dignity expected of a leader.
Yes, I do think your clothing suits you well.
That it does. This attire was specially made to meet my specifications. By any chance, Princess Laeticia, would you like to try it on?
Me? You are asking me? Would that be acceptable? Truth be told, I was actually hoping I could a little.
Is that so? Then let us proceed. My clothes are simply the wrong size. I know. We will make a new outfit for you.
Really?
I, too, would love to see you don the traditional attire of the Trathan people. We will make something fit for a princess. I hope that excites you.
I graciously thank you. Although, I do have one small request.
Yes, whatever you need.
If possible, could it be a little less revealing?
Not a chance.
Oh!
This is how our traditional clothing is customarily worn. Anything too modest will not evoke the Trathan. Besides, surely you've seen worse in Osarius.
Oh, is that right?
Indeed. The Crown Emperor and that boy will enjoy your first public unveiling.
I am in no way in a rush. Please, hear me. What might they be speaking of?
Tell me right away if it feels a bit off. If you hide any defects and it breaks suddenly, I won't help you.
I understand. I shall not behave recklessly.
You say that now, but you'll push your luck when you're in the thick of it. Well, I said I'd take care of you, so rest assured. But still, try to stay within your limits.
Of course, I shall take care.
And I say this to you. Don't let this one go wild. The more rampageous he gets, the faster his arm will fall apart.
Worry not. I will compensate for any effort required.
Your Highness, I cannot accept that. I will not burden you as such. That is my duty.
Albert, Maester Midas just said to not act imprudently. If the situation calls for it, I shall.
No, it must be me.
Confound it. Looks like you're both eager to go over the deep end. Hopeless.
Such an idyllic place.
That is how you see it?
I'm sorry.
Well, it is divorced from the cacophony and commotion of places like Delric and Rifle, which is why I chose to live here after leaving the capital. But once I actually started living here, idyllic was about the last thing I found it to be.
Is that so?
Well, what do you think possessed me to erect such an ominous gate?
I'm not sure.
The village is constantly threatened by mountain beasts, and suitable farmland is sparse. In the past, it once thrived as a place of training for the kingdom's semiomancers. But young blood these days aren't interested in coming here, and some villagers even left to the capital for work.
How short-sighted of me. It should go without saying that the people here must deal with their fair share of hardship.
Yes, but still, not everyone cares to move to the city. No matter how remote or inconvenient it is, they'll protect where they've laid their roots. Paragons of virtue as they are, I stayed to help.
I went and inquired much of the village about you, Maester.
I'm not one to put on airs to suit with whom I speak.
No, that is not what I intended to say. Rather that I believe you love this village dearly, and that the villagers regard you with admiration in return.
You do understand something.
Baird, must you always look so serious?
Yes, is that concerning?
Sometimes it makes you seem less stern and more than a trifle frightening.
Oh, is that so? My apologies. I was not aware.
I do think your seriousness is one of your virtues, but does it not exhaust you to oft behave so? It may do you no harm to be at ease from time to time.
Oh, such acts do not come to me naturally. What would one need to do?
Well... Albert, you have a sweet tooth, do you not?
What? I know not of what you speak.
How long do you believe we have known each other? Anyway, let's say you try having a feast of sweets until your belly swells.
Oh, I see. That certainly is a tempting idea, but... No, I cannot. It would still be too difficult.
Difficult? I thought you liked your sugary treats.
Oh, I do. But it is perhaps embarrassing to be seen purchasing so many by myself.
Ah, then might I join you in doing so? Were we to go together, you need not be embarrassed buying a great amount.
What? No, I cannot.
What is the matter?
Thank you, Your Highness. The thought has started to fill me with excitement. Is aught amiss?
No, those people we just passed by, they regarded us as brother and sister.
Brother and sister? For us to be seen as such would be a great discourtesy to you, Your Highness.
Why do you say such words, Albert? The two of us have been together since childhood. Being mistaken for siblings is no surprise.
Mayhap you are right.
But if we truly were relatives, then that would mean... I would be the elder sibling, and you as the younger brother.
If that is how Your Highness would see it.
Such a tenuous response. Would you not want to be my little brother?
That was not what I intended to infer. In reality, I am older than you.
Very well, then. I shall make you the elder brother. Fair?
What? Oh, all right. Fair.
It is the duty of a big sister to indulge her little brother.
Just a moment, Your Highness. That would mean I remain the younger brother?
Hey, Laeticia. Mind if I ask you a question?
If it is within my understanding, I would be glad to answer your question.
Is it true that the royals and nobles of the kingdom engage in grand, passionate, super romantic love affairs every single day?
Oh, my! What could you be talking of?
Oh, that's not true, huh? That's what was written in this novel I'm reading.
I admit I may not be so knowledgeable of many things, but I have never heard of such liaisons.
You don't say. I see.
I was not aware of literature depicting royal love affairs.
It's way too good! It's about a beautiful princess, and there are tons and tons and tons of different men that come and go as her marriage suitors. There's a fight for love among rival sisters and nobles, with all kinds of scheming going about.
Very well, Nina. I am sure it must be quite the interesting tale.
By the way, Laeticia, do you have a type of guy that suits your fancy?
Oh, I have never given it much thought. Perhaps. I would appreciate someone who can lead with strong conviction.
Oh, that sounds totally royal. Like he comes along strongly and says, "Follow me," and you just have to go with him.
Yes, that would mean he holds belief in his actions. In my case, my position often requires me to lead others. Perhaps part of me longs for someone to depend on. If we could then wholly support each other on our paths, I believe I could face the future with great confidence.
Oh, I see. Very, very interesting. Wait, wasn't there someone like that around here?
Nina, are you quite all right?
Dr. Izan, I'm fine. I'm wide awake.
Nina, it's Laeticia.
Oh, it's Laeticia. Laeticia? I'm so sorry. Oh, that was really embarrassing. And of all people, to think I mistook you for Dr. Izan.
I could hardly mind. But you look so terribly sleepy. Did you have trouble sleeping yesterday?
Yeah. I started this fascinating book before bed, and when I finished reading, it was morning already. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. If you are particularly sleepy, perhaps you should rest at the inn.
Oh, I'll be fine. I know I can hang tight till nighttime.
Oh, okay. If it suits you. I could offer you my lap. When it is time to depart, I will rouse you. So please, rest now a little.
Laeticia's lap, a pillow? That would be really, really nice. But people will get really angry at me.
Angry? But by whom?
Oh, well, Albert, or Dr. Izan, or the entire population of Hostarius.
I am allowing it, so there is no issue at all.
No, it'd be a waste to use your lap as a pillow now. I shall save it for when I'm really, really tired and sleepy.
And now is not such the case?
So, what should I do?
It is a rare sight to see you struggling with some decision, Elena. I am willing to lend an ear if that helps.
Oh, thank you. I was considering the Aldous' interior design and decoration. With Ray and Antonio being as they are, and indifferent to their surroundings, the Aldous looks too cold and bare.
Very true. There is not much in the way of decoration, to be sure.
Such a drab environment will surely affect the crew's morale as well. I wanted to add a touch of decoration to try to change the mood. But due to my lack of experience in such things, I couldn't decide what to buy.
I see. Well, in that case... How about decorating with flowers?
Yes, flowers do belong on the top of the list. They look bright and colorful, And Ray and Antonio will offer no opinion at all.
Yes, I believe that is true.
It is a good thing I asked you, Laeticia. Now I must find something suitable.
If such is the case, mayhap we could search together. I happen to have quite the knowledge on flowers.
Ah, thank you. Such a proposition is something I could never imagine coming from Ray or Antonio.
Phew. It's hot.
Are you quite all right? You look rather uncomfortable.
I am not particularly good at dealing with the heat. This clothing normally regulates my body temperature according to how hot or cold it is outside. No maintenance has been performed on it for some time, so it's not working. It's hot.
Oh, well, in that case... mayhap it would be better for you to undress your layers.
Undress?
Is it not an effective way to combat heat? Even removing one layer will make a difference, I'm sure.
Oh, I understand. One layer, right? What was I thinking?
Of course. Removing everything would be...
I know, I got it. No need to imagine. I don't think my brain is working in this heat. Okay, if it gets really, really hot, I'll take a layer off. But on the other hand, a Federation officer shouldn't shed their uniform so easily.
Okay, please do not overdo it. Ray, does that device allow you to converse with a distant companion?
Basically, yeah. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty, it's got its limits. Like, if the pod I came here in was in working order, I could use subspace communication with faraway planets.
Subspace communications. Useful indeed. Ray, I have one question. If such a thing is possible, then what reason is there to go to such lengths as sending a letter, as I believe you spoke of?
Yeah, you're right. I did say that, didn't I? No job is too big. Anything from a single letter. All that jazz.
Precisely. With such a convenient means of communication, I must say it seems a bit inefficient to limit oneself to ink and paper.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. But no matter how advanced our technology gets, I doubt we'll ever run out of clients who want to have the feel of something real in their hands. Like a letter, you know?
Is that so?
You disagree?
I understand the merits of having a written letter in one's possession, certainly. Yet with the technology in your world, I imagine lasting impressions could be left equally as well by other means. Is a sterling example not the map used in the Larkus Weald? Hence why I find it curious that written communication remains yet in use on your world.
Sure, but still, there's more to a letter than the sum of its parts.
More to a letter. I cannot say whether I grasp this concept or not.
I say, you've become considerably stronger than you were in years past, Albie. You find ample opportunity to train on your journey with Letty?
Yes, and I do not intend to fall short of you.
Listen to that confidence. Then how about we bring this to Letty? I asked, if you and I were to have a match right now, who'd be the victor? Well?
I accept. A fine challenge. Your Highness, I ask for your fair judgment.
Very well, understood. In that case... Theo would yet win.
So you do not see me as having surpassed him. I find this regrettable.
I'm sure you have grown considerably stronger, Albie, but I cannot allow myself to lose to you just yet.
Theo, I beseech you, We must duel when we next have the time. I am not satisfied as is.
Then allow me to play judge on such the occasion. Are you admiring the sailboats?
Sure am. You know, I've spent a lot of time on ships ever since I was a kid. Spaceships out in the stars, that is. Not like these. I never saw real-life sailboats until I came here. They're a pretty rare sight.
A ship which travels the stars is a much more unusual sight than this.
I guess you got a point.
You have ridden such a ship, though, yes? Tell me, how did you find the experience?
It, had this particular swaying motion that was pretty interesting, but also kinda unnerving.
Unnerving?
Well, think about it. The sea is totally different from what I'm used to, right? Say something happens during a voyage. Unlike a spaceship, I can't control anything. So, yeah, unnerving. Hang on a sec. Why couldn't I? With my years of experience and finely tuned instincts, I should be able to maneuver a sailboat right out of the gate.
Nay, mayhap it best to go slow and learn thoroughly, or put your faith in the experts.
You don't think I could do it?
No, I do not.
Really?
Truly. Should the opportunity arise, shall I arrange for you to apprentice under Cousin Theo's guidance?
Holy crap! I'm so on board for that!
Should the opportunity present itself. Where's were the two of you discussing?
Hi, Laeticia. We were just discussing the prayer spot back at Gelka Shrine. Did you know that there were symbols carved into the altar? So, I was talking with Uncle Midas about how maybe people used to offer prayers to these symbols a long time ago.
In the past, symbols that transmitted semiomancy were considered as sacred as divine miracles. Though nowadays we do not personally use symbols with semiomancy. Tracing back their lineage, we know that symbols have been included in the iatromantic system. To put it simply, symbols that heal the human body are known as divine miracles.
Whoa! That's Uncle Midas for ya!
Well, I learned it from the best, Filberto.
What? From my dad?
Yes, and the ebullient man never stopped talking about it. So much so I couldn't help but memorize it.
Symbols are divine miracles, huh? Dad used to really say that.
We had certainly best remember to be grateful, as we have been oft blessed by these very same miracles. Theo, how your soldiers revere you.
Does it appear as such? I suppose I'm not thought of poorly.
I can clearly see that you care for your men. The trust they pay you in return speaks volumes.
That has seldom occurred to me. Then again, since I was a soldier, Father has often hammered it into me that I must do whatever it takes to take care of my subordinates.
Lord Uncle said that?
Surprised?
Oh, forgive me.
No need. It is surprising, I'm sure. Although I do enjoy a rather carefree existence in comparison to you, Letty.
To me?
Why, each and every citizen of Osarius is an underling of yours, are they not?
Are you suggesting I think myself above the citizenry?
Well, you stand above them, after all. To them, it is much so.
I see. Is it really?
Letty, what I am trying to impart is that you must take care of all your subjects properly. In return, they will honor you with their trust and loyalty.
How I hope that will be true. Well, fancy meeting you two in front of this shop.
Oh, Laeticia! Guess what? Mario told me she's never actually bought anything at a shop like this before. So I thought we could have a look together.
Yes. Actually, I've never shopped at a store with a friend before.
Oh, I know. Why don't you come join us, Laeticia?
Oh, me? Would that be all right?
Of course. Right, Mario?
Yes, absolutely, if you want to, Laeticia.
Very well. Then I would be glad to accompany you.
I'm a little nervous.
There's no need for that. It's not scary. That was a blast!
I agree. Oh, would you believe how late it is?
I hadn't a clue that much time passed. What did you think, Mario?
I had a really nice time. Who would have thought? I had no idea shopping could be so much fun with someone to talk to. Nina, thank you so much for inviting me.
To be honest, this kind of experience was a first for me as well.
Are you serious?
Oh, I had such a lovely time shopping with you both. I hope we can go out again soon.
Yes, definitely.
Uh-huh. Next time, we'll make a solid plan and have fun together all day.
That sounds lovely.
Stop. Even if I were to accept your gesture, I would receive no boon from it.
Nevertheless, I cannot overlook how Father and the Corps persecuted you and the Semiomancy Consortium, all for political purposes.
Did I not say I had no want for your apology, man? I have no intention to ask anything of you.
But, Maester Felgrade, what of your honor?
The same honor unites mouth from your grimmest visage, curled with your miserable stoicism? Think me in want of that. Go jump in a lake full-plated.
But...
Don't misunderstand me. There is no need for you to apologize. What did you possibly do to me 14 years ago to affect me? Jack all.
For one thing, I failed to stop my father.
You were a child then. A brat barely old enough to be Laeticia's senior. You were powerless then, and a fool now to think otherwise. Is your sense of repentance not yet sated?
No.
Then toil and sweat blood for the kingdom's future, so that such things will never occur again. And work together with Albert and that sneaky one eavesdropping over there.
Letty?
Let us elders fight among ourselves about the past. You'd all best think of the future. That is a responsibility only your generation can shoulder.
Yes.
I will give my everything for the future.
You young people today are too upstanding and dutiful. Did you inherit none of your father's shameless desires? You put me ill at ease.
I see you both have had your fair share of merriment.
Not I. This one's been drinking for us both.
What was that? Finished already, are you? We've only just begun.
See?
I'm not drunk. I'm completely fine.
You're as sauced up as I've ever seen you. What drove you to drink like this?
You really don't know. That's your problem, isn't it? So, Princess Laeticia, what do you think? Why am I drinking here like this?
Me? Oh, well, perhaps. Because, well, the mood strikes you?
Yes, that's right. Drinking is all about the mood and the energy.
Listen to yourself.
You should shut up. Come on, Princess Laeticia. Need a drink? My treat.
What a drunkard you are, corrupting youngsters now. You run along now. The way she's going, she'll really make you drink.
Very well. Although when I finally come of age, I think I would very much like to drink with you.
Is that so? I'll be looking forward to it.
Rethink that. There's better things you can do when you're young.
What does that mean?
Cousin Theo, what might you be doing here?
Letty, nothing in particular.
Did something draw your attention? Is someone there, perhaps?
No, wait. There is no one.
Oh?
Just when this kingdom had finally settled down, here comes another commotion.
I hear that Princess Laeticia has been all over the country, putting an end to this mess. Oh, what a fine young woman she is.
But did you hear? There's rumors she's being accompanied by Commander Theo.
Oh, good heavens! Say it isn't so! He betrayed the king and Laeticia and sided with the Vale Empire.
He sure did. Oh, I just hope he's not thinking up another scheme at her expense.
I don't understand. Why has he been released in the first place? He betrayed the crown and disgraced the knights, didn't he? I've seen folks executed for less, you know?
Ain't that the truth? He's a scary one, that Theo.
I shall go explain what truly happened.
No, Letty, stop. I brought these circumstances upon myself, and so I must accept them.
Even so.
Let them say what they will. Those not present at that time cannot be expected to understand the truth of what happened. And what they are saying, their words are not mistaken.
Then you will forever be the subject of such gossip.
Any attempt to enlighten them about those events would only be met with deaf ears. At best, it would replace one rumor for another.
But then what of your reputation, Cousin Theo?
As long as we restore this kingdom's future, I could not care less what people think, especially if what they think happens to be the truth. Scrambling to protect my honor with favorable reports and half-truths would only complicate matters more. I say, let the truth be known.
Cousin Theo. Very well. At the very least, I will promise to hold your feelings in mind. Until the day comes when every citizen believes in you once again, I shall not forget.
Thank you. Your words alone are all I need.
It feels as if we have been away from the capital for quite some time. It is comforting to be back on her streets again.
Indeed. Though a storied past with this city we do have, it is yet our home.
This is true. Very well then, Your Highness. I shall bid you farewell. I have pressing business to attend to.
Oh, will you be visiting your shop?
My shop? What do you mean?
The one famous for its sugary confections, of course. You oft frequent there, do you not?
Your Highness, you knew?
Oh, you were intending to be covert? You oft visited that shop, but always under some pretense. I thought you quite enjoyed its delicacies, so I did my best not to disturb. But now, come to think of it, you oft did seem to grow nervous en route.
Heavens, I cannot believe you knew all this.
Is it really so shocking? We are in each other's company more often than not. I do know you quite well.
I see.
In fact, I should very much like to see this favorite shop of yours. Could you take me with sometime?
But of course. I am certain you will enjoy it as much as I, Your Highness.
All things considered, it was a smashing wedding.
Yes. It was a sight to behold, in a rather literal sense. Although it did not quite have the appropriate air.
It was missing something, for sure. You will certainly wed your true life partner one day. Consider it a fine dress rehearsal instead.
I would prefer not to reference it at all.
You are probably right. You cannot marry anyway unless you find a groom. In truth, what type of man do you see yourself marrying? This is a matter that will mold the future of Alcerius. Oh, come now. I shan't tell a soul. You can speak with candor.
Mayhaps someone who will always be there by my side will be best. During times of illness, during times of health, we would hold hands and get through whatever life may throw at us.
Always by her side. Isn't there already someone like that? Is she boasting?
Did you say something?
Oh, no, never mind. I hope you find such a man.
Ah, yes, I will certainly try.
I think it may be the other side that needs to try.
Ray, fancy meeting you here.
Oh, Laeticia! Am I glad to see you? I got myself totally lost.
Is that so? Well, how fortunate that I have found you.
I'm really kind of surprised. Didn't expect this place to be so huge.
This is the royal capital and one of the largest cities in the world. Her buildings vary greatly, so those new to her streets often become lost.
You seem pretty happy.
Oh, do I?
Sure do. It's like you're so proud you can barely contain it.
Well, this is my birthplace after all. And to hear you acknowledge her grandeur pleases me so.
I mean, all goofiness aside, it's a beautiful city. It'd be pretty much perfect if you couldn't get lost in it, though.
I cannot say I agree, but I do thank you. What might you two be doing?
Letty, I was giving Ray a test of skills.
A test of skills? Either Albert or I could easily attest to Ray's prowess.
It was not as if I was doubting his abilities.
It was actually my idea. I was curious to see how I compare to the strength of a top knight in combat.
Yes, and instead of discussing the finer points with words, it is of course quicker to simply engage in a clash of arms.
I'm afraid that reasoning evades me.
Yeah, I guess it would. But hey, since we're on the topic, Laeticia, who could take who in a fight? Me or Theo?
I couldn't possibly decide an answer to such a sudden question.
Whatever comes to mind is fine. Surely your intuition tells you something.
Boys and their pride. Well... ultimately, it will be Ray, perhaps.
Oh, you think so?
That is preposterous. Explain yourself.
Begging your pardon, Cousin Theo. But Ray still possesses room for growth. I made my choice with that in mind.
I see. Fair enough. That might well be true. I best devote myself to training, so I am not overtaken.
Now, just what could be cause to sigh like that?
I was reflecting upon my actions.
Oh dear, again?
It is of great import until just recently. I failed to notice Albert's deteriorating condition. Throughout our entire journey.
And who could blame you for that? The boy tried like mad to hide it.
And that too gives me pause. Why would he feel the need to hide it from me? Am I such an unreliable presence?
No. No, I do not think so.
Huh?
It was wholly out of his sense of loyalty to you that he tried so hard to conceal his condition. As the boy's superior, you must acknowledge his efforts. Of course, acting to prevent someone from worrying can, on occasion, lead to an equally worrisome predicament in and of itself. I do not know much of man's pride, but I can say that you need not trouble yourself with every small concern.
I seem to feel that. Mayhap you are speaking from personal experience?
Do you believe so?
Oh, I am sorry. Was that too forward of me?
No harm done. But now you must develop an eye for seeing through false courage. Because that is how people are, no matter their age.
That is truly sound advice I will not forget. No matter their age? Are you referring to...
Surely that is uncalled for, no?
Oh, agreed.
Baird, I have a question for you.
Yes, Your Highness.
I would like to know your thoughts when I decided to accept Prince Gerard's marriage proposal.
Heavens! This is quite the sudden inquiry.
Have I asked something unbecoming? You see, I had not consulted with you when I made the decision, no? Hence I ask.
Please, Your Highness, I am but your attendant. Wherefore I shall abide by your decision, no matter whom you should decide to wed.
I feel like he is missing the intent of the question I posed forward.
Highness?
Okay, I see. So, you would comply with any decision I make?
Yes, by all means.
Well, then, what if I were to...
Highness?
Nay, pay me no mind. Thank you, Albert. I appreciate all your support.
Oh, certainly.
Laeticia.
Yes, what is it?
I have been undertaking some special training in secret. May I ask you to take a look at the results?
What could it be? I will help if I can.
Thank you very much. Please watch then, as I try my impression.
An impression?
I have striven to learn much about humans through observation and analysis. I would like to impersonate someone now, so that you can measure my progress. May I ask you to try and guess as to who I am impersonating?
That is what you wanted? Oh, very well.
Then, I will start. Now, Princess Laeticia, aren't you working too hard? A sense of responsibility is important, but ensure that you do take better care of yourself.
Albert, could that be right?
Sorry. Unfortunately, that's incorrect. That must mean I still lack sufficient training.
I am sorry. It did sound quite a bit like Albert.
Your Highness, I do wonder how you look upon me. Do you truly think I would ever speak in such a way?
Oh, Albert! This time it is definitely Albert. Think that the introduction of the Fulga would lead to such dramatic results.
They were absolutely overwhelming. Attacking from such a high position out of reach from the opposition, a simple tactic yet so formidable.
A victory of your long dedication.
No, this is a victory of everyone's dedication. Well, in truth, I did not want to engage her in that kind of maiden battle.
Mr. Midas, I am sorry.
I totally agree. But even so, the Fulga's capabilities were put on full display. When this war is finally over, it should be a cinch to find other uses for it besides fighting.
I see it only as the trigger of further conflict.
Well then, before that happens, you need to set everyone straight. The Fulga is a dream machine that symbolizes peace. That it'd be damn idiotic to use it for war. Am I right?
Are you presenting me with a challenge now?
As the inventor, I have faith that you can pull it off.
You've got some neck to talk with such ambition. Fine, I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, Ray.
That meal at the end was super tasty. I wonder how they made it. Oh, I wish I asked them for the recipe.
Nina, by any chance, do you cook?
Yep. Back in Delric, I was the one making the food. And I even made enough so we could deliver to all of our sick patients.
You cooked for the patients as well. That must have taken quite the effort.
Yeah. It was a lot of work. It was hard enough with just 2 or 3 patients, but when there were more than 10, it was such a hectic rush. But thanks to that, I've now got some skills in the kitchen.
Well, I certainly would like to sample your cooking one day, Nina.
Gee, I'm sure it's nothing that you'd find tasty, Laeticia.
Do not be so sure. If possible, would you please cook for me sometime?
Yes, of course I will. How about you, Laeticia? Have you ever cooked something before?
Only once as a child. However, it was an utter failure. I burned very rare ingredients just so terribly. Although I do desire the skill to prepare a dish properly.
Well, in that case, why not make something with me?
Oh, with you, Nina? Wouldn't I be a bother to you?
Not one bit. It just so happens I'm also an ace cooking teacher. And cooking is more fun when it's done together.
If you don't mind, I would love to. I can hardly wait.
Yay! Pinky promise!
There's nothing left to be done. What a dull existence. There must be some way to pass the time.
Good day, Lady Malkia.
Your timing is impeccable. I happen to have a favor I must ask.
Oh, yes, of course, if it is within my power.
Could you tell me a good story?
Pardon?
You did hear me. Come, tell me something stimulating.
It feels like I'm being asked to do something rather challenging. In that case... Here is a joke that is quite in vogue within the royal city. A patient was visiting an iatromancer and spoke to him as such. Doctor, this is my first time being treated with iatromancy. Will I be okay? Don't worry, he replies. This is also my first time. And that is the joke. Lady Malkia?
I never thought you would actually tell a joke.
But isn't that what you asked of me, Lady Malkia?
Yes, of course. Apologies. I had heard it common for persons of great culture to know many jokes and funny tales. If the princess can make a clever joke at a moment's notice, the kingdom's future is secure.
Oh, you do exaggerate. That was but one simple joke. I assume you two have been acquainted for some time.
Yes, you could say that.
Then she's always been insufferable.
Oh, insufferable am I? I certainly won't stand for that.
What?
I must ask you, Princess Laeticia. Objectively speaking, How does our insufferable relationship appear to you? I suggest you answer truthfully.
Oh, well, maybe. I believe you appear to be quite close, as if you were sweethearts.
Do you hear that, Midas? We look like sweethearts. And how is that insufferable?
What would such a sheltered child know of such things?
She merely told it as she sees it, if I were to venture a guess. Yes?
Yes. What, pray tell, are the both of you doing here?
Ah, Letty has graced us with her presence. Come, look at the scratches on this pillar.
Theo and I were observing this. How it brings me back.
These are height markings, yes? From when we used to compare our heights together when we were children.
Correct. How long ago was it? We three used to almost scrabble atop each other, scratching our heights, frantic to grow taller than the other.
It is hard and humbling to believe that we were all once so small.
But the markings seem to end rather abruptly. I wonder why we stopped.
Come now. Do you not recall?
Me? Your words seem to suggest it was somehow my doing?
It was, Your Highness. One day, you became frustrated by your lack of progress and declared it most unfair that Theo and I had been growing faster.
Oh, did I truly say such a thing?
You were but a child. It is most understandable.
Although it took us quite an effort to get you in good humor again.
Oh, even at such an age, I should have been ever so slightly more mature.
I heartedly agree. So, tell me, have you matured?
Well, Her Highness's strong spirit certainly endures. In a good way.
Do you mind, both of you?
Are there any special tactics you use when coordinating your men?
No special tactics, you say? Wait, why do you ask me?
I heard you have had a long career and are idolized by your subordinates.
I see. Well, I cannot tell you if my experience in the Australian Navy applies to the logic of outer space. But in terms of what I think is important, one needs to display confidence, I imagine.
I see. I seem to lack that the most.
I as well. I don't necessarily have confidence per se. I merely put on appropriate airs.
Huh?
Should you lack confidence, simply give off the appearance that you are strong and most assured. If you display a commanding presence, most things tend to fall into place.
It's just for appearance. Is that really good enough?
It is perfectly fine. We all have our share of self-doubt. The point is, you must never allow that display to crumble in front of your men. If an officer is insecure, that insecurity may well be passed on to their subordinates.
I see. I have definitely plagued my crew with uncertainty.
Worry not. I too made the same initial error. When you are young, no amount of swagger will make you look reliable. Of course, it is an absolute must that you combat your anxiety through full preparation and endeavor. But if you can at least act confident, eventually you will forget that it's an act. Thus, true confidence is born.
Thank you. I think I understand a little more about what confidence really is.
Build confidence gradually, and strength will follow. That strength will then bestow yet more confidence upon you. Now then, go stand before Letty and show her how confident you are. Come now. It's times like these you need to show off your acting ability.
How could I possibly show acting ability so soon? I've only just learned this.
Cousin Theo, do not tease Mario so. Please do not mind him one bit, Mario.
I just don't have it.
I believe the day has come when I now stroll through the grounds of the Vale Empire. Speaking truthfully, never did I think that I would set foot here. At least not without one of the nations falling.
I concur. It certainly is difficult to imagine that we would be able to stand here amid the capital in a time of peace and not war. For now, it is only we who are visiting the Empire like this. But I sincerely hope that all people of both nations will eventually be able to come and go without the fetters of conflict.
Indeed.
For that to come to fruition, we must put an end to this struggle. And thereupon, even more will yet need to be accomplished. Though appearances may suggest we have bridged the gap between nations, deep-rooted maladies remain uncured. Albert, until the kingdom of Osarius and the Vale Empire can truly ally with each other, we must continue our efforts.
I follow your will. I shall do everything to ensure your wish of seeing both nations prosper comes true.
Oh, I hear the Folga is being used by the Empire.
Yes, it is being used to transport the wounded and distribute supplies. Thanks to the Folga, it appears that everything is progressing well despite the circumstances.
Good. Then it is being put to good use for now.
Perhaps this may be the first step in making the world see the Folga as more than a mere weapon.
Impossible to know from the chaos we are currently in.
Tomorrow may seem a world away, but when peace is finally restored, I promise I will ensure the Folga be used as was intended. I believe that is my duty as the one who released the Folga into the world.
Nonsense. That responsibility is mine, since mine are the hands which built her.
Maester Midas.
But I will thank you for feeling such, all the same.
Of course. And to usher in this bright future for the Folga, we must strive now to end this fight.
I once thought fighting for peace a silly idea. But if that is our goal, perhaps not. Let us go put an end to this.
Indeed. Emperor Gerard, my thanks to you once again for granting this reconciliation.
Please, stop there, Laeticia. You of all people must understand the situation surrounding my father's departure.
Gerard, I leave this empire and world in your hands for the time being. Forge peace with Princess Laeticia. And wait patiently for the inevitable return of your lord.
Father! Father.
Emperor Gerard?
I am clearly not to be entrusted with this empire so abruptly. Surely, even Father knew that I lacked the capability. There is no chance the ministers and generals will approve of my sudden ascension to the throne. Inevitably, this will cause panic in the Empire and bring our country to ruin.
Please, calm yourself, Emperor Gerard.
I see. This is all Father's idea of a joke. I am most certain Father could foresee the chaos I now envision. He must be hiding somewhere, amusing himself with the sight of my dismay. You must not play such childish games, Father. Show yourself. Now, please.
Emperor Gerard! Please, you must steel your resolve. Your subjects are looking to you.
They are looking to me. And why would that matter?
You have become Emperor of the Vale Empire. You must stand as such before your people, lest they become anxious.
If they are anxious, it is because someone such as I sits upon this throne. I lack the powerful will of my father. Unlike you, I have no friends who would risk their lives to fight beside me. I am certainly not worthy of your love. It is utterly impossible that one as useless as myself could rule this empire.
Stop this foolish prattle! The merchant and the dressmaker both spoke of you with enthusiasm and admiration in their voices. Countless soldiers long in service to the Empire cursed me as a wicked woman who betrayed you. That is all a testament to how much they adore you. You must not cast aside their reverence and regard yourself as worthless. Even if you did not wish it, you now stand as the ruler of this land. Your decisions, your words and deeds, even the manner in which you carry yourself, impact the people of this domain. Surely you do not wish to bring misfortune upon your people?
Then I repeat myself. What capabilities do I have, this wretched prince?
First, you must raise your head, Your Majesty. The knights gathered here are showing great concern for you. You are loved.
Do they really think so highly of me?
Such talk is akin to showing contempt for those who serve you. You must stand with confidence and meet their gaze. Now ask yourself, what can you do for the people who adore you?
Thereafter, I went out from the palace. I watched the dressmaker as she was hastily bringing the soldiers aid. I then watched the merchant gifting people his wares. A knight I am acquainted with was removing debris blocking the street. Yet, upon seeing me, they inquired of my welfare, despite the chaos around them. How could I have ever thought to turn my back on such kind and devoted people? I feel such shame.
Oh, Emperor Gerard.
Thank you. If you had not told me to raise my head, I would never have known such a feeling. I know not what I can do for my people and the Empire, but I swear, I will give my all.
Oh, Emperor Gerard, what might you be doing here?
Oh, Princess Laeticia. Today is the anniversary of my mother's death. I was praying.
Oh, then may I, too, say a prayer on Tatiana's behalf?
Yes, you may. I am sure it will please her.
I must deeply apologize, Your Grace.
Whatever could you possibly mean?
I have heard that Tatiana died 15 years ago during an outbreak of Helgar's disease. If only my country had not refused to send semiomancers to the Empire at that time, surely...
Please refrain from such words, Princess Laeticia. If you wish to apologize on behalf of Osarius, do so before our people, not I. If you do wish to personally apologize to me, know that there is no need. You were merely a child at the time, without authority to decide on such matters. You bear no blame. My parents were fully aware that the people of Osirius were also suffering from the same illness. In my current role, I understand all the more. The burden of King Osirius' decision not to dispatch Semiomancers to the Vale Empire. The fear of war erupting from collapsing relations between allies or the spread of rot in his own country. I respect that he weighed both possibilities and found the strength to make a resolute decision.
I beg your pardon. Please allow me to withdraw what I said earlier. How thoughtless it was of me to apologize when I am only doing so to escape my own guilt. I truly have much to learn. It would appear I lack the qualities expected of a ruler, such as you or your father.
Hardly the case. My mother oft said, "We all strive desperately to protect the ones we love." That desire may bring conflict, but it may also drive us to cooperate with one another. You sought Nilbeth's aid, served as a bridge between kingdom and empire, and extended your hand to the Virians. You brought this world together.
Emperor Gerard.
I have heard about Father. I cannot feign to understand what caused his actions, but I know for certain that is no means of evolution. I see the truth in this world you forge, one free from strife. Please, you must stop him. And inform him that even amid current circumstances, we can realize a peaceful and warless world.
As you wish, Emperor Gerard. Until we meet again. Lady Malkia, how do you find these views above the sky?
Truly and ceaselessly astonishing. I thought I had already learned so much in my lifetime. But when did I last feel such anticipation, such suspense, not knowing what will happen next?
Perhaps Ray, Chloe, and the others shared such similar feelings when they came to Osirius.
Despite coming from this coruscant universe, maybe they too felt unease arriving in a new land.
I do recall Ray becoming quite thrilled, though, each time he encountered a new sight.
Thrilled? Fascinating. I thought my curiosity was aroused for the first time in ages, but that phrasing does not do justice to what I feel. I am thrilled to know that there are whole worlds yet unheard of in our universe.
As am I, and it is my fervent hope that we may explore them together.
Yes, like tottering children, we shall take our first steps into a world once thought unfathomable, one with an abundance to learn.
Yes, we are as children here, so let us learn with childlike innocence.
Childlike innocence, you say? Conventional wisdom will no doubt be a hindrance then. I hope you will be near to keep me grounded.
I shall endeavor to keep up with you, Lady Malkia.
Whoa! Whoa!
What is the matter, Nina? You appear quite rattled.
Oh, Laeticia, this big ship is just floating in space?
I believe that is how Ray explained it.
That means there's nothing below us, right?
Pardon? Ah, yes, you're correct, I suppose.
Uh-huh. Oh, that means if we fall once, we'll never stop falling. That's crazy scary.
Please, I hardly think we will begin falling. our only choice is to trust in Ray and the people operating this vessel.
Oh, yeah. I'm panicking a lot here, but this must be just like any other day to Ray and his crew. Probably.
We should get ourselves accustomed to this as well. First, though, you must stand up firmly and stop shaking.
Right. That first step is just too tough.
Hey, Chloe, you been resting up like you're supposed to?
Whoa! Ray and Laeticia too?
Yeah, you seem surprised. Let me guess, you were lost in thought about something.
Sorta. Kinda. You could say that, I guess.
Chloe, mayhaps something troubles you?
No, nothing like that. I just, was wondering if maybe I could ask you something, if that's okay?
By all means.
Do you, think your marriage to Prince Gerard was a good idea?
Well, I cannot say. We were in the midst of a mission, so it was my utmost priority to accomplish that without flaw.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, of course. Sorry. Kind of a weird question for me to ask, what with it being a fake marriage and all.
Quite all right. Did anything weigh heavy on your mind regarding the ceremony?
Well, you know how you were all gussied up in your wedding dress and all that stuff? You looked so beautiful, so radiant. I was totally transfixed on you. I mean, everybody was. It might sound a little old-fashioned, but I really feel like a wedding is such a great place for a girl to shine like a star.
Now there's a thought. I guess now that you mention it, it was the first time we'd seen Laeticia all dolled up in a formal dress and stuff.
Indeed, that is so. Pray tell, Chloe, have you a man in mind whom you want to betroth?
What? No, that's not why I was asking.
You sure about that?
I mean, I do have someone I kinda like.
Could it be Ray? I knew it.
What? No way! What do you mean you knew it? I mean, I respect him as our captain. He's real gutsy and super good at knowing what to do and when to do it. But he's always got us on our toes, you know? How could I ever relax around someone like that?
Got me there. Sounds like I'm driving both you and Elena up a wall.
So, a calm and collected man would be your choice?
Yeah, I guess I'd like a guy who looks a little intimidating, but is actually kind, grounded, a real family man, a gallant gentleman and hero to all, but a supportive sweetheart who always makes time to come home and dote on me and the children.
Oh, interesting.
Well, what do we have here? Ray, Chloe, and Laeticia?
Antonio!
Aren't you supposed to be on break, Chloe? You been resting up like we asked you to?
Oh, my... yes, I'm fine. Taking plenty of downtime. I was just, chit-chatting with Laeticia here.
Oh, is that all? I thought you might have been hitting the books on your break again. But all right. You know, Chloe, I like the cut of your jib, but you're always wearing yourself out. Make sure you get your rest. It helps me out, too.
Okay, I will.
All right then, Laeticia. You take it easy, too.
Thank you, Antonio. And so I shall. A gentleman to Chloe's liking. I am quite sure I have met someone like that. Beautiful.
Oh? Beautiful? Were you, by any chance, talking about this schematic diagram just now?
Excuse me. Yes, I thought that image in front of you was so dazzling and radiant.
Right? Radiant is the right word. I said the same thing about this map to Ray before, but he just stared at me like I was out of my mind or something.
This must be a map of the stars, yes? I am unable to read it, of course, so I cannot say which stars these are exactly. But they sometimes glow like fireworks or fireflies. I think that is simply beautiful.
I'm so glad there's finally someone here who understands how beautiful this diagram is. Truth is, I never originally intended to become a pilot, you know? Working in space is way more dangerous than any ordinary terrestrial job, after all. But as a student, I discovered the beauty of these diagrams. I started wishing that I could read them and understand what each dot of light represented. Before I knew it, I was totally infatuated with outer space and all of its mystery. What at first were just pretty dots of light eventually had meaning as I learned more and connected the dots. Now, it feels like there's a whole other universe up on this monitor.
How wonderful. Were it only that I too could understand these diagrams.
Well, if you wanted, I could, teach you?
Could you really? Would that not be an infringement of the Federation's underdeveloped Planet Preservation Pact?
Oh, right. Yeah, Mario would be pretty mad, I guess. But, seeing as how you can appreciate the beauty of this map, I think you deserve to understand just how beautiful it really is.
Oh, thank you, Chloe. This should best stay our little secret then, I presume.
For sure! I'll be your secret guide to the world of stars.
Marielle?
Please, don't startle me like that.
Oh, apologies. Were you perhaps eating something?
Military provisions.
Ah, is that by any chance Umaibo candy?
How do you know?
I have many times seen Chloe and other crew members of the Aldous eating and speaking of them. Why, pray tell, were you hiding?
Sorry. It is absolutely forbidden to snack while on a mission. But I was just so hungry.
I see. Very well. You need not worry. Your secret is safe with me.
Thank you. Since we're on the subject, would you like one?
Are you sure? Oh, how I've wanted to try one. I am to believe there are many flavors?
Yep. I have salami, veggie salad, and takoyaki.
All right. In that case... I would like to try veggie salad.
That's a good choice for your first time. You know, I've even heard that some kids on Earth actually develop an appreciation for vegetables and salad by eating this stuff.
Truly? Could such a snack really hold such power?
Go ahead, Laeticia. Enter a brand new world of taste.
Yes, I will eat this with much appreciation.
Hey, Laeticia! I was just asking Marielle about what schools they have up among the stars.
Nina, are you thinking of conducting your studies in space?
Well, I don't really know yet. But it might be a good chance for me. I was thinking it would be an interesting path to take.
So then, let's say your future is in space, and you want to join a Federation school. That could be a tricky proposition.
What? How come? I'll work hard and study like crazy.
No, sorry, that's not what I meant. The issue is, we don't really know how the Federation will consider Astor IV from here on.
That is in regard to the underdeveloped Planet Preservation Pact, I assume?
Yes, unfortunately.
Then, you mean, there's no way that I can study up among the stars?
Actually, there is a precedent.
A precedent? You mean there was someone like me who went to the stars?
Yes, that's right. It was someone from an underdeveloped planet who conducted great research and made their mark on Federation history.
What a remarkable person! That's so amazing!
I can't affirm anything at this point in time, but please don't lose hope, Nina. Know that I will support you wholeheartedly when it comes to it.
Oh, thank you very much! Okay, now I'm bursting with motivation!
That is good to hear, Nina.
Looks like I can...
Cousin Theo, why such a serious expression?
Pondering on this celestial ship. I was thinking of the differences between it and the ships I am accustomed to sailing on.
Meaning boats that travel by sea?
Yes. The conditions will differ, obviously. Space and sea are vastly different terrain, after all. But both are ships, in the end. I concluded they must share some common points to some degree. Although it is quite puzzling how celestial ships chart their course. We judge direction by the position of the stars. But these ships sail a sea of stars.
Yes, there are stars everywhere. Before us, behind us, and even below.
Very true. How could we possibly find our bearings? I was lost in admiration knowing they can discern their desired direction amid this puzzle. And another point, boat propulsion requires wind and waves. Yet there are no waves to be found, nor is it apparent there is any wind here. Nevertheless, this ship moves on without fail.
Then, are you saying it must be propelled by a power that is beyond our understanding?
I feel we are cornered into no other conclusion. I should whittle them down with incessant pleas to steer this celestial ship for myself.
Perhaps I shall accompany you and learn the truth myself.
Well, where this world is concerned, I feel as if we could learn for a lifetime and still know naught. But as a sailor, I cannot simply let this mystery be. Before our journey ends, I must unravel some of this ship's secrets.
Ray, might I inquire why you chose to pursue the transportation business?
That's a good question. Well, at first I was just doing it to help my dad out, and for the pocket money. But after getting my hands dirty, so to speak, I started to think it might actually be the career for me. I kept up with it, and that's how I am where I am today.
So, it suits you. I am unsure whether I am suited to be princess or not.
Oh? Well, you mind if I speak freely?
I do not mind.
All I know is, in terms of behavior, sense of responsibility, and that sort of stuff, no one's a better fit for the royal lifestyle than you, Laeticia.
I am appreciative. However, do you know any other princess than myself, Ray?
Of course not. You're the only one I know.
Well then.
But neither does anyone else out there. That includes you, doesn't it? That's why, even though you're the only princess we all know, we think you're perfect for it. Listen, don't worry yourself sick thinking about it. Though I guess that's easier said than done, huh?
No. Thank you, Ray. Over the course of this journey, I hope to reevaluate the meaning of my position as princess.
There you go. No need to rush it.
Might I ask, why are you staring at the people of Scorpium?
I have been ruminating on the matter of this arm of mine. I received a portion of Lady Malkia's body, which granted my arm the gift of remaining intact. As such, I find myself unsure of how to regard the act of integration with the Scorpium.
receiving life essence from another being, the lifestyle of the scorpium. The two may very well have similarities.
Indeed. Hence, I cannot decide whether I should reject integration or affirm it. I am left quite conflicted. Alas, if anything, my heart may be on the side of affirmation.
I believe that to be well.
You do?
Yes. For us as we are now, nay, for anyone, it poses a challenging question for one to answer with truth. Struggling to discover the answers within ourselves is the correct choice for now. And whilst the means and process to obtain power are certainly important, once it is in your possession, then how you choose to wield it becomes the next important question.
Do you refer to what I already possess, Your Highness?
Yes, with that arm that Lady Malkia has granted you. What shall you do with it moving forward? And to what end will you wield it? I believe that to be the matter most worthy of ponderance. You have oft said similar yourself.
I agree. Which means I have always known deep inside how I will wield this strength. All for you, Your Highness. As it is, as it has been, and as it henceforth shall be.
Thank you. Then let us continue to fight for the sake of all people. Mayhap even on behalf of the Scorpium as well. I take it you two were making use of the learning facility?
Yes. I decided to join Nina during her studies. I also wish to learn more about the Scorpium myself.
This learning facility is so amazing! When I do research here, I can't help but learn lots of new things. I even feel like my mind has gotten sharper. But when I'm with Marielle, although my studies are much more efficient, she cuts me off from some stuff about medical technology.
I'm not withholding that to be mean to you, Nina. It's due to the Underdeveloped Planet Preservation Pact. It's a necessary system to ensure that you and your planet acquire medical knowledge over the years properly.
No, I totally get that. But when I'm studying here, the things I want to know about just keep coming, one after another. Yep, that's it. I'm gonna go again.
Nina, don't you think it's better off calling it a day at this point?
What? No way! I spent enough time resting, and there's still so much left I want to learn.
It's definitely important to obtain knowledge, but you also need to consider the method you use when doing so.
The method I use?
Exactly. I've had the same experience. If you keep doing things alone, your sense of time management will get messed up.
You mean to say she will become too immersed and work excessively?
That is correct. If you let someone supervise you, you'll actually study much more efficiently and learn much faster.
Guess I sometimes do get too pumped up when I go it alone.
Nina, if you allow me, I can perhaps help you organize your studies in a more structured manner. There are also things I wish to discover at this learning facility. So if we learn together, you can study and maintain a sustainable pace at the same time.
Really? You sure?
I sure am. As a graduate of higher education, I know I'll be able to help you out. Perhaps we can first begin by summarizing what we learned today together.
Marielle, you make quite a teacher.
I'm looking forward to your class, Miss Kenny.
Not so sure about the whole teacher thing, but I'll give it a shot.
All the knowledge in these facilities is near infinite. I feel like you could spend a whole lifetime learning here.
Yes, truly. I find the scope of the Scorpium's history intimidating.
Kind of feels like the motherlode of all history. Osirius keeps its own records, doesn't it?
Most certainly. We employ historical record keepers, though not to this degree.
For gold and the Federation don't have anything like this. With all the craziness that's been going on with Osirius in recent years, it must be a real handful to keep up with everything changing. I feel bad for future historians. How are they gonna make heads or tails of any of it?
Quite. Nay, now may be a prime opportunity.
Oh? Did you think of something good?
Yes, I shall seize this chance and propose that we piece together all of our grand histories. And not solely the history of Osirius, but of the Vale Empire and beyond. That will ensure our guests from the cosmos instantly comprehend our past when they grace us with another visit.
That's the spirit. For your future and all its people, let's put an end to this threat together.
Let us make history.
Yes, I suppose I have. Mostly on missions, but even still, the number is pretty high, I believe.
Before I began this journey, I had barely seen any of the towns even within mine own kingdom. I could never see myself catching up to become as worldly as you are, Marielle.
Huh? Wow, no. I would not call myself worldly at all.
Please, no need for such modesty.
Seriously, I'm not being modest. If I'm going to be compared to you, I'll be the one to come up short. You are royalty, after all, responsible for an entire kingdom. I can't even imagine what that's like.
No. I am still so very inexperienced.
Who's being modest now? You were always so dignified. It's impressive.
Modest? Really? But Marielle, you are so much more praiseworthy than I.
No, I disagree. It is you, Laeticia, who...
No. Marielle, it is you who... I am sure we both have challenging positions. One must make the best of it, I suppose.
The grass always looks greener on the other side, right?
Mayhaps we both should endeavor to retain some self-confidence.
Very true. I might need a little more time with that, though.
Hello, young lady. I heard all about what's been going on. Sorry to hear all these strange troubles have sucked you out of your home and up into the vastness of space.
Not quite the way I see the situation.
It's all because of that Duma, was it? If I hadn't agreed to transport that hunk of junk in the first place, well, I'm sure a fair lady like yourself never would have got caught up in all this otherwise. I owe you an apology.
Huh. I am afraid I must disagree.
Huh?
If you are, in fact, the reason why Duma alighted in my homeland, I find myself most grateful to you. It is because of Duma that Ray and I crossed paths. They helped us to save our kingdom. I have also found it most enlightening to bear witness to the cultures and behaviors of the various peoples living above our sky. Furthermore, it has given me the chance to subdue Baldur as he flees into the stars.
I think I may have underestimated you, young lady. Young lady? Ha! Where are my manners? Laeticia, you're good people. And you've got guts, too. Huh, I like that.
I am honored you think so.
Here's an idea. Once all these issues are done and dusted, why don't you marry into the Lawrence clan?
Pardon?
If I do say so, Ray is a young star at our company. He's got quite the bright future.
Hey, hit the brakes, Dad. What are you saying all of a sudden?
And there's also Antonio. But I personally guarantee you'll have an easy enough life with either of them.
Come on, old man, lay off. You're making the poor girl uncomfortable.
What do you say, Laeticia? Would you rather marry Ray or Antonio?
I actually find myself taken by you most of all, Raoul.
Well, well, well. We've barely said 10 words to each other, but she can already see that I'm the only Lawrence worth a damn. Jess would be mighty jealous, though. Still. How about dinner on me, Laeticia?
This is exactly why Mom left home in the first place, Pops.
She left home?
Dad used to go out every night, getting crazy, drinking. And of course, he said it was all for work. One day, Mom had enough. And our parents split up when we were small.
Oh, I see.
What are you saying? Your mom and I are all good. We get dinner together every week.
Yes. Well,
Whatever's up with them, Antonio and I don't have a clue.
I guess even though they hate living together, they still enjoy each other's company.
Mom also said that for work, she'd create a company that doesn't require bar hopping every night. She founded the same type of delivery business as us. Now, it's huge. Number 2 in the industry.
Hello? Yeah, it's me. You've got to be joking. What the hell do you mean Jess got the Patatech project? I'm heading back to the office right now. Call a meeting with their board of directors. Sorry, everyone. I got urgent business. Laeticia, let me get back to you about that date.
Raoul is a rather amazing person. For some reason, I can quite easily believe he is your father.
Can't say I'm happy to hear that.
Me either.
What shall I do? No, wait. I cannot let such an opportunity pass. The torment. To buy or not to buy.
What are you doing?
Your Highness!
Oh, why must you be so surprised?
No particular reason. None whatsoever.
You lie. There is some item that you covet, and you were pondering whether to purchase. That much is plain to see. To see your calm disposition so broken, what splendorous object would do as such?
Ooh.
Ooh?
Oh, my bow. They seem to be a type of candy.
Ooh, my bow? Oh, I do remember overhearing some of the crew mention them aboard the Aldous.
The vendors here sell them. It seems that there are an extraordinary number of flavors, and among them, there are a few that I find myself helplessly curious about. There are the sugar rusk, chocolate, and natto varieties.
Heavens! Then out of those 3... I say choose the sugar rusk. You do have quite the sweet tooth.
How did you...
You need not deny it, Albert. Though I am unfamiliar with these umaibo, surely the sugar rusk flavor cannot disappoint.
Correct you are. Then I shall make my purchase right away. I say, it was quite filling. Would you like to try one, Your Highness?
Certainly. No time like the present, as they say.
As it were, I am quite satisfied with my purchase. Thank you for the encouragement.
Such an extraordinary city, and one that greatly differs from Parapium.
You think so? I mean, sure. I guess there's a lot less nature here than in Parapium. Huh. Feels weird saying Parapium and nature in the same breath.
Vergnus is your home, is it not?
Yeah. Well, it's the place I grew up, so in that sense, it's home to me.
Wherefore the ambiguity?
The hospital I was born in was on Vergald, so technically, I'm from the planet. But I've spent way more time on Vergnus, as far back as I can remember. and now it's where my whole family lives. So, does it feel better to call Vergnus home? Yeah.
So, would I be correct in saying that is your childhood home then?
That's where things get complicated. That's the company, not my house. In an Ossarian sense, that's a business/kingdom, and Dad is its ruler.
I see. That helped my understanding. Nonetheless, it is a remarkably large building.
Yeah. There was actually a big dispute when we went to rebuild the office 5 years ago. They wondered if we could recoup the costs of constructing such a massive building.
Goodness, that is quite the ordeal. 5 years prior? This structure required but 5 years to erect?
Nah, it's been like 3 years already. I'd say construction only took like 2 tops.
Only 2 years?
Yeah, that's pretty much bog standard for a building like this.
Only 2 years. Yet it is so grand. Everything in space is so unconventional. Ariel, the Kenny name bears special meaning in your world, correct?
It's special. To everyone else more than me, I guess. Sometimes it just feels like a weight on my shoulders.
Can you tell me more?
Well, my grandparents and their forebearers played a major role in Federation history. They were incredible. You can definitely find them in textbooks.
They must be among the so-called giants of history.
Right. I'm no giant, though. I'm just a little girl stuck at the far end of our great family table.
Marielle. Being a princess, I too am well aware of the burden and weight that comes with one's bloodline. The pressure of living up to surrounding expectations. The anxieties of upholding the long family history.
Laeticia.
Nevertheless, I stand here now as Laeticia, and you are here as Marielle. I am aware of you, Marielle, not those who came before you. Therefore, please just stay as Marielle. Let the legacies of old settle where it may.
Thank you. It feels a little lighter now.
I have complete faith in you. Faith that one day you will come to embrace your Kenny name.
Yeah, you're probably right. I can't keep avoiding it forever, can I?
Sorry to bother, Laeticia. Can we ask a small favor?
Yes, of course.
We'd like you to check on the progress of Chloe's linguistic studies.
Happy to. Chloe, you have been studying for quite some time now, have you not?
Yeah, but the problem is I still can't really say that much.
Chloe, have some confidence. I will now disable the universal translator.
My name is Chloe Canneritz. I like astrology. I don't like confined spaces. How was that? Did it make any sense to you?
Superb! That was absolutely perfect, Chloe.
Really? Thank you. I am so happy. I can talk using my own words.
Your pronunciation is perfect, and your listening skills appear fine, too. Oh, it is apparent you have thoroughly applied yourself.
Very nicely done, Chloe.
Thank you so much, Elena. Relying on the universal translator is much easier, but the culture and history of Astor is coursing through its language. There is no other way to appreciate it than to learn it properly.
Chloe, you truly are amazing.
Oh, no. Really, I owe it all to the help you and everyone else has given me, Laeticia.
Well then, how do you feel about learning slightly more difficult words?
Huh?
I will provide you with some challenging textbooks on the ancient tongue. I am quite sure it will be all too easy for you, Chloe.
Passion for learning is a good thing. Chloe, perhaps you would wish to learn a little bit more.
I think I'm okay with just sticking to everyday speech for now. I'll get to the archaic terms someday. Those old words might send my brain back to the Stone Age.
So, Ray, this is the town where you were raised.
You could say that. But since I was little, I've spent most of my time in my dad's ship flying all over the galaxy. So it's not like I was really living here. But I guess if I had to call somewhere home, this would be it.
That is certainly right.
I bet it was the same in Parapeum, but compared to Osirius, aren't you shocked at how different the town's appearance is?
It is quite overwhelming to see so many unfamiliar things. Although, I must say it is a rather lovely town.
Yeah? To me, all the cities on Vergald look the same, no matter where I go. Can't say I ever thought this town was lovely.
Both Ascendros and Vergnus are full of activity and energy. You can sense the beautiful workings of life being lived within them. Together, they have given me some invaluable insight.
Whether someone lives on my world or your world among the stars, Ray, as different as our worlds may be, the people of each behave much the same. Insightful thoughts, Elena, indeed.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. There's a lot of small, obvious differences, but things usually pretty much settle into the same pattern, more or less.
Oh, right. There are many other people here among the stars I have yet to learn of. Is it most likely that a day will come where we must work together with them?
I really can't say, but there's no need to think so hard about it.
Pardon?
Keep it simple, just like we're doing. Build the kind of friendship where you get to show off your hometowns. That's more than enough.
Yes, that type of friendship sure does sound nice.
But don't let Marielle know I said that.
And to ensure we get to that type of future, we must endure and overcome the obstacles we are facing right now.
Ain't that the truth? So, in order to save our hometowns, we really gotta rip it up.
Yes, with all we have. The size of the Aldous never ceases to amaze me. It is hard to believe something of quite this size is able to take flight, and does so solely at the hands of Elena, Chloe, and what few retainers you maintain.
Yeah, from where we're standing, I'm sure it looks like there's only a few of us running the ship. However, in reality, there are a lot more people putting in work than you can see.
Is that so?
Yep, just like the ships in Aster, we can't get this baby moving without a bunch of help. And we're only as strong as our weakest link. That's why as crewmates, we make sure to take care of each other.
Huh. Do you now?
Sure do. We all got each and everyone's back.
Yes. You were quite perturbed by your separation from Elena and Chloe during our first encounter. I was taken aback by how truly concerned for their well-being you appeared.
Sorry. I'm not really good at taking compliments. But Laeticia, don't you feel the same way about your people?
Huh?
I mean, don't the Osirian people mean the same to you?
Of course. The kingdom would hardly exist if it were made up of only the royal family and its knights. I have never once doubted the importance of our kingdom's people.
Yeah, we both seem to have a lot on our plates, don't we?
Indeed, which is precisely why we must remain focused and ever active, for all of their sakes.
Top shelf stuff from Earth at that.